Hello, and thank you for taking part in this digital drop in from Google and Parent Zone. My name's Chelsea, and we've also got our online safety expert Cal in the chat box too. Now, we'd love for you to share your name and maybe where you're watching from today, so please do say hello and introduce yourselves in the chat box. Don't be shy. Now, Cal and I are part of a team in charge of Be Internet Legends, a program designed by Google and Parent Zone to help families become savvier, safer, and more confident online. Now, over the last few weeks, we've been asking parents and carers what they'd like us to cover in these digital droppings, and sharing carefully was one of the top answers. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, this drop-in's one of several that we've been doing on subjects such as cyberbullying and protecting personal information. And we're always interested to hear what topics you'd like us to cover in future digital drop-ins. So if you've got any thoughts or requests, please do pop them in the chat box. Now, the plan for this session is to talk about how we can teach children to share carefully on the internet. Now, whether or not you're going to work or your children are in school, most of us are using tech a little bit more at the moment to share things with people that we can't see in person. So, in this chat, we're going to be talking about how we help children to decide what information should stay private and what's okay to share with different audiences. Develop sharp sharing habits whenever they go online, so they're sure they're only sharing what they want to with who they want to. And we'll talk a little bit more in a moment about what sharp means. And finally, managing their digital footprint throughout their lives, including understanding that things that they post now might be visible when they get older. Now, we want the next 15 minutes to be as useful and as practical as we can possibly make them. And we know that some of the best ideas are going to come from you, sharing your top tips and thoughts parent to parent. So if you've got any advice or any words of wisdom or suggestions, please do pop them in the chat box. I'll keep checking down there so I can share them with everybody else. Also, if you've got any questions, pop them in that chat box. Cal is there waiting, and I'll answer them too as we go along. Now remember, there is no such thing as a bad question. Now, before we go any further, I just want to check that everybody can see me okay. Now, if I do look a little bit blurry, I recommend refreshing the page on your phone or your tablet or computer, or you can adjust your settings by clicking on the little cog in the bottom right and selecting quality. And don't worry about missing stuff because you can always watch this back too. And you can share the link with your friends as well so that they can watch it too. Now, as I said, Cal and I are part of a team that has been teaching an internet safety programme called Be Internet Legends in schools across the UK for about 4 years now. Some of you might have heard about it from your children, or perhaps you've attended another one of our digital drop-ins. Now, we deliver really fun interactive assemblies like this, and then teachers follow up with lessons in the classroom that are part of a full curriculum. Now, throughout the pandemic, we've been supporting schools and teachers and children and families from afar using the power of tech. Now, Be Internet Legends teaches children 5 really important safety pillars, a mixture of skills and behaviours that cover the most important things that children need to remember whenever they go online. Now, this includes being sharp, being alert, being secure, being kind, and being brave. Now, if you did want to find out a little bit more about all 5 pillars, do check out Google's parent page, and Cal's going to be popping the link for that in the chat box as I speak. Now, sharing carefully is covered in the Be Internet Sharp pillar, so that's what I'm going to concentrate on for the next 10 to 15 minutes. Be Internet Sharp is all about helping children think about what they say, post, and do on social media, messaging apps, online games, video chats, and more. So let me kick off by explaining what we teach children as part of Be Internet Legends so that you can adapt some of our ideas to suit you and your own family. And please don't hesitate to drop any of your own suggestions or strategies in the chat box. I'll pause and read some out. Let me have a look. Oh, fab. Carl's popped in the chat box some top tips for sharing carefully. So do check those out when you've got a moment. Now, when we're teaching children to be internet sharp, the first thing we encourage them to think about is what they share and who they share it with. Now, this might sound really obvious, but in a world where children are used to sharing lots of information and seeing their favourite celebrities share nearly everything online, it's really important that children have these questions in their mind whenever they go online. We want children to know that some things should be kept to themselves because it's personal. For example, their passwords. Now, it's surprisingly common for children to share their passwords as a way of showing that they're really good friends. So, we need to teach them that it's really important that they keep their passwords private. Of course, you might decide that you need to know some of your child's passwords too, and that's a decision for you to make as a family. We need children to know that they shouldn't pass their personal information like this onto anybody else, even their friends. We also want them to understand that some things might be okay to share with certain people, but not to others. Now, to help them make savvier decisions about sharing, we introduce them to the idea of sharing groups. Now, these are different groups of people that you can share different things with. Now, we give them 4 to think about. We have private, just your family, family and friends, and then everybody else. You've probably already talked to your child about who they share things with already. But this grouping approach is another way for them really to think about not just what they share, but who they share it with. So first up, we have private. Now, this isn't a group at all because it's the stuff that shouldn't be shared with anybody. So things like their passwords, but also anything that might identify them, like their home address or their date of birth. Now, next we cover family. Now, these are things that are okay to share with family members. Now, this could be a video of dad doing a really silly dance, but as long as dad is happy for that video to be shared with the family. Or it could be pictures of you in your school uniform. Next, we get them to think about the family and friends group. Now, for this group of people, we explain that they should only share things that are suitable for a bigger group of people that they know offline. Now, this could be something like their birthday or maybe sharing what they got up to at the weekend. And finally, there's everyone. Now, this is where they can share anything that isn't private at all and it can be shared anywhere. So, this could be a picture of a cute cat or perhaps a new song by their favourite band or singer. However, we remind them when we're doing the Be Internet Legends assembly, and you can reinforce this at home too, that sometimes strangers can see this stuff too. And once something's out there, it's out there. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later when we think about digital footprints. So, how can we make this all as easy as possible so that children always remember to think before they share? And what can you do at home? Now, there's one really super easy thing that you can do at home to introduce your child to the concept of sharing carefully. And that's watch the Legends Family Adventure. Now, this is a really cool animated series that we've created with Aardman, and that's the people behind Shaun the Sheep. Now, there are three really cute films that are designed for families to watch together, and they introduce some really important concepts to your children, but in a really fun and engaging way and an easy way for them to understand. Now, Cal will pop a link for the Legends Family Adventure in the chat box. We've also created activities that support what they learn in the films, and one of them is something that you might remember from your own childhood, and it's this: the paper fortune teller. Now, hopefully, you'll still be an expert on how to make these, but don't worry if you've forgotten or they're new to you, because it comes with plenty of instructions, and there's some fab how-to videos on YouTube too. Now, like fortune tellers, this activity is all about helping children to make a decision, but this time it's deciding what to share and with who. Now, once you've made one and played with it a few times, it's a really good thing for your children to have around the house, maybe near their tech. And you can even encourage your children to customise theirs. So mine would definitely be turquoise with a bit of glitter glue on it to give it a sparkle. And then they can keep it safe, carry it around with them, whatever works for them, because it's all about turning savvier sharing into a habit. Now, of course, this is just one idea from Be Internet Legends that you might find helpful. If you do have any of your own, pop them in the chat box and I'll share them with everybody as we go along. Oh, yes, Cal's popped in the chat box that episode 2 and 3 of the Legends Family Adventure is a great way to start chats about password and security. Thank you, Cal. Now, here are a couple more things. Oh, I've just clicked off that. Sorry, I'll start that again. Here are a couple of more things that we remind children about, and again, we'd really encourage you to cover them at home as well. Now, we talk to children about accidental sharing. So, that sharing's more than just posting or not posting something. Things can sometimes be shared accidentally too. For example, every time they use a video, it's important that they check for anything that might give away personal information, like wearing a jumper or a t-shirt with their school logo on it. It could be leaving something in the background of that video that gives away their location or their home address, or accidentally saying something private, especially if they're in a video chat or a live stream and that information can't be taken back. Now, to help your child develop sharp sharing habits, you could practice together by creating a bit of a checklist every time you do a family video chat. And you could even make this into a bit of a quiz with your families. Now, of course, it doesn't matter if your child mentions their school in a conversation with their gran, but it'll really get them used to start thinking about the different kinds of sharing that they need to be aware of. Now, another idea is to pop a note on their device with a list of the things they should never share with anybody online. Whatever works for them to help them remember what's okay to share and what's not. Because as we say in the assembly, once something's out there, it's out there. And that leads us nicely on to digital footprints. Now, this is the word we use in Be Internet Sharp to describe everything that children leave behind when they spend time online, or what's posted about them by others. Now, this can include photos and videos, text, audio, social media posts, emails, gamer handles, and more. Of course, information travels fast, and some of these will be on the internet for a very long time, which is why we want children to think really carefully about what they share online and what they keep private. Now, in our assembly, we encourage children to find a lost toy cat, and remember two pieces of information about him that one of the presenters casually mentions at the start of the assembly. Now, this is a great opportunity to remind them how quickly information can travel and how long it can stick around for. Now, the children have never met the cat before, and yet they already know two pieces of personal information about the cat: their name and his age. Of anybody wondering, he's called Colin and he's 3 years old. But don't worry, because you don't have to hide all your child's toys to have fun learning about digital footprints. Now, one quick thing you could do together is Google one of your child's favourite characters to find out how many new pieces of information you can learn about them. You might be surprised about how much you can learn and how much is out there. Oh, Cal said hi, Colin, in the chat box. Hi, Colin, indeed. Now, our Parent Hub has a really fun guessing game that you can download and play together. Now, what you do is you write the name of a character or a celebrity or animal on a piece of paper, and then you stick it to each other's heads. Now, the idea is to see how quickly you can work out who or what is on your head. Now, it's designed to show children that just a little bit of information can give away a lot. Now, Cal's going to pop a link for this game in the chat box. Of course, if you do play this game with your child, you'll probably find that sometimes it can take a few guesses to get the right answer. And you might even make some bad guesses based on the information that you get. Now, the same is true on the internet. So this simple game is a great opportunity for you to talk to your children about how people can form inaccurate impressions of them based on their digital footprint. You can also let them know that when they share things about a friend, it becomes part of their friend's digital footprint too, which may be used to form impressions of them. Now, if your child has had a Be Internet Legends assembly, they'll be really familiar with the kind pillar. So they'll know how important it is to always spread super kind and super positive messages online, and you can remind them that this links to their digital footprints too. Now, there's one more thing that crops up a lot in Be Internet Legends, and that's reminding your child to talk to you if they're ever unsure or worried or confused about anything. Now, it's the final pillar of the Be Internet Legends code, and it's Be Internet Brave. When in doubt, discuss. Now, even if you do have a bit of a chatterbox on your hands who talks to you all the time, it can be really hard for children to talk about what they've been doing online or if something's happened online, because sometimes it means that they've broken a rule or they've done something they've been asked not to, and that can really put them off telling you. But that's why you need to get them into the habit of talking to them about what they've been doing online and having a chat with them to always be brave if something happens, even if they've made a mistake. They need to know that you'll always be able to help them, even if they think what they've done will make you a little bit cross. Now, I'm sure you do this already, but I hope that Be Internet Legends gives you some extra resources to help them and remind them. Because as we know with children, sometimes you have to tell them something over and over again until they remember and you're sure that they've understood. Now, I do hope you've enjoyed this digital drop-in. I've really enjoyed chatting to you today. Now, Google's Be Internet Legends parent page has loads more useful information on this subject, and Cal's going to pop a link in the chat box now for you, along with a link to the Parent Zone website, where you can find loads more really useful information. But that's not all. If you have found this useful or interesting, why not come to another one of our digital drop-ins? Now, we're doing them all the way through the term on topics such as cyberbullying and protecting personal information. Now, Cal's going to pop a link for the full timetable in the chat box, and do feel free to share the timetable with your friends as well in case they want to join us for a digital drop-in in the future. Now, before I go, I want to remind you about the Legends Family Adventure. Now, it's the perfect, entertaining yet educational activity to do together with your child. Now, there are 3 episodes, each under 3 minutes each, and they're followed by really fun activities you can do together. Now, as I said, episode 2 really focuses on sharing carefully, but I recommend watching them all in order and watching them all the way through. Again, it can be a great way to open up some of the conversations about what we've been talking about today. And here is a little sneak peek.
My bear's gone.
Mix uppercase and lowercase letters.
Whoa! Neat trick!
Now, once you've watched the films, we'd love for you to take part in the Legends Family Challenge. Now, this is an opportunity to win some really exciting prizes for your child's school and test their internet safety knowledge so you can check how much they've understood. Check the chat box for a link to that. Now, we've also got loads of fun free activities that you can do as a family on our Parent Zone Parent Hub. Now, there's something for every pillar of the Legends Code, from kindometers to password poetry. Now, if you do sign up to the newsletter, we'll make sure you're the first to hear of any new activities or resources. And Cal's popped a link for that newsletter sign up in the chat box now. And finally, have you played Interland? Now, it's a fab online game filled with challenges based on the Legends Code. Now, children love it and they're really good at it too. Now, again, have a go of playing this game with your children or in your families, because it can really open up some of those conversations about what we've been talking about today, and it's great fun. Now, why not have a bit of a competition in your household, see who can get the top score, and maybe the loser has to do the dishes. If you are having a competition though, watch out for Mindful Mountain, because it is really tricky. I still can't do it. Now, that's everything from me. Cal's going to pop a link in the chat box for a survey. Now, this survey will take about 30 seconds to fill in, and it just helps us know if this digital drop-in's been useful for you, if there's anything you'd like us to cover in the future, or if there's anything we can do to make it better for future digital drop-ins. And don't hesitate to get in touch with us via email or our Instagram. All the details are on the screen now. We absolutely love hearing from families and children, so perhaps you'd want to let us know what you thought of the Legends Family Adventure, share your high score on Interland, give me some tips for Mindful Mountain. And if you've got any questions, do get in touch. There is no such thing as a bad question. Now, before I go, I'm going to have a little look in the chat box. Just check I've not missed anything. Fantastic. Cal's popped loads of really useful links in there, so do copy them down, and when you have got time, have a look at them, and do share this link or the timetable for our other digital drop-ins with your friends too. Now, thank you so much for joining me. There's nothing left for me to say other than enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you soon. Bye.